Right. I will go ahead and introduce to you our chief judge for tonight's debate. His name is Mr. Jared McFoy. He's no stranger to some of us. He is an educator and author by profession. He's a trained graduate master at Annandale Secondary School and has been teaching for over 5 years. He is currently a part-time lecturer at Cyril Potter College of Education, and his passion is to impact and inspire the lives of people he interacts with. I will now go ahead and call the center administrators for both Lenora and Linden ZARA Computer Centers to introduce to you our second judge, third judge, and the members of the proposing and opposing teams tonight.
Coordinators, Guyana Police Force, ZARA Computer Centers, ASB Hanover, Mr. Sarwan Budu, Divisional Subordinate Officers 1 and 2, Sergeant Ramsey and Sergeant Hines, Administrative Sergeant of ZARA Computer Centers, Sergeant Williams, special invitees, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, all, good evening. My name is Miss Ashley Mtage, Center Administrator at the Leonora ZARA Computer Center. I will introduce the proposing side, starting with our judge, Mr. Marlon Joseph. He is a young Guyanese advocate for change and development, recreational writer, and talented coordinator. He is the president and founder of Together We Win business network and the founder, CEO, and lead facilitator of professional training, employment, and consultancy services. Mr. Joseph delights in providing capacity building, training to youths, helping them to understand their purpose while becoming better versions of themselves. His selfless love for people has helped him to receive several recognition, awards in areas of public speaking, environment, community services, and entrepreneurship. He is also the vice president of membership at the legendary Toastmaster Club and has completed the motivational strategies and effective coaching pathways, respectively. With that being said, our respective debaters are Veronica Wilson, that is our first speaker, Vanita Shivnath, the second speaker, Don Jacobs, our third speaker, Rosinia Wong, who is our backup speaker. Thank you all.
OC ZARA, ASP Hanover, Subdivisional Officers Sergeants Hines and Ramsey, Regional Division 10 Administrative Team, Mr. Sarwan, judges all, a pleasant good evening to you all. I was tasked with introducing our home team judge, who is no other than Mark Light, Chief Inspector of the Guyana Police Force, who joined in July of 2000. He attended the Christ Church Secondary School in Georgetown and went on to furthering his studies at the Government Technical Institute, IDCE, and the University of Guyana. Whilst in the Guyana Police Force, Chief Inspector Light would have performed duties in several other departments where he took part in the Horace Justice Debating Competition, which was renamed the Henry Green Debating Competition. During his competitive times, Chief Inspector Light was awarded a few Best Speakers and additionally led his team to the finals and came out victorious. Chief Inspector Light enjoys imparting knowledge into the lives of youths within communities and schools wherever and whenever possible. In his quest, he also encourages them to enjoy their school life and also to take in their education, since education is key to a bright future. I'll now introduce you to the speakers of the ZARA team. First, we have Miss Ariel Johnson, Shanika Trotman, Seminata Basil, and Kevon Gordon, who is our standby. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. For tonight's debate, our moot is police investigating crime should be allowed access to our social media profiles. Just a quick reminder of the debating rules. for our teams. The first speaker for both teams would have 8 minutes. The second speaker for both teams would have 6 minutes. The third speaker for both teams would have 5 minutes. And there will be a 10 minutes period for preparation of the rebuttals. Then each team's first speaker will have 5 minutes each for their rebuttals. On the minute before your time is expired, you will hear a hit on the glass. And once your time has expired, you will hear 2. Thank you. So without further ado, I would like to call to the mic the first speaker to present her argument.
Honorable judges, learned colleagues, friends of the opposition, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, all within the proximity of my voice, good evening. I, Veronica Wilson, the first speaker of the opposing team, courageously stand to propose the moot which says, and I quote, "Police investigating crimes should be allowed access to our social media profiles," end of quote. Our second speaker, Ms. Vanita Shivnath, will look at the reasons why we should allow police access to our social media profiles when needed so as to help solve and prevent crimes. She will use success stories, thus clearly illustrating her points, and our third speaker, Ms. Dawn Jacobs, will boldly end with a presentation on cyberbullying, hence concluding our team's argument, proving to you that beyond a shadow of a doubt of our standpoint here this evening. First, allow me to define the key words in the moot, which are police, investigating, crime, access, social media, and profiles. The following words will be defined according to the Oxford English Dictionary. Police can be defined as, and I quote, "an official body of people employed by a state to prevent crime and keep public order," end of quote. Investigating, which is the present action, hence, investigate is defined as, and I quote, "carrying out a systematic inquiry to," end of quote. Crime can be defined as, and I quote, "an act that is illegal and can be punished by law," end of quote. Access means, and I quote, "a way in," end of quote. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines social media as, and I quote, "forms of electronic communication," end of quote. Profiles is defined as, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, as a set of data often in graphic form portraying the significant features of something, end of quote. Gracious judges, after defining the keywords in the moot, same can be now read as police carrying out a systematic inquiry into an illegal act should be allowed a way in our electronic communication data. Members of the audience, we all know how social media works. Once we post content, be it on Facebook, Instagram, or our WhatsApp status, or any other social platforms, anyone can have access to it, especially if we did not put any restriction on that post. So the information is out there and it's public for everyone to have access. Friends of the opposition. The friends of the opposition side may want to tell us that the police should not have access to one's social media profiles when investigating a crime. But we are here to boldly state that they should have, and I repeat, they should have access to our social media profiles when carrying out their investigation if there is need to. Why obstruct the course of justice? If the police need access, why not give it to them? You may be helping to solve a crime or maybe to prevent one. So I ask, why would you want to prevent the police from executing their duties? and not have access to needed information, but instead, you sit behind your phone and computer and count the few reactions that post has generated when you could be helping save a life or prevent a crime from happening. Friends of the opposition, can it be that you're hiding something, or you may not want to incriminate yourself, that you do not want to give access to our police who were employed by the state to prevent crime and keep public order? Think about it, wise judges and attentive audience. A crime was committed and same was posted to your social media profile or sent to your WhatsApp. The information will help the police to save a young girl's life. Hence, they need access to that data. Our friends on the other side will say that they will not give police access to that data. That is so sad. They prefer to look at the reactions and comments of that post instead of helping someone and preventing a crime. Yes, that is what they will be telling us when they say they will not allow police access to their social media profiles. They may want to argue that it is an invasion of one's privacy and the police can be sued under the Civil Rights Act. But please keep in mind that invasion of privacy can be defined as, and I quote, it can be defined as according to the constitutional rights and privacy laws as, and I quote, the intrusion into the personal life of another without just cause, end of quote. Hence, this act will not be applicable to their presentation tonight because the moot clearly says investigating crimes. There's your just cause. According to a small but significant survey which was done within several regions on the west coast of Demawara and at the 9 police stations and 2 outposts within Region 3, it revealed that 92% of the villagers agree that if there is need, they would give police permission to access their profiles. The remaining 8% was unsure of what they will do at the time the question was asked. The police, on the other hand, were all in support of this, and they gave several reasons as to why police should be given access. And some of those points are used tonight in our presentation. Learned judges, an attentive audience. I'm sure if I'm to ask you the same question, you would agree with us tonight and say yes. Yes, the police carrying out a systematic inquiry into an illegal act should be allowed access to our electronic data. And I repeat, they should be allowed a way in our electronic communication data. And this is an undoubtable fact. So please, I beg, do not allow yourselves to be convinced differently.
Thank you. I will now go ahead and call the first speaker from the opposition team to present her argument.
Honorable judges, worthy proposition, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Tonight, myself and members of the opposition are tasked with speaking against the moot which states, and I quote, police investigating crimes should be allowed access to our social media profile, end of quote. We strongly believe that this is a violation of our privacy and civil liberties and could cause a chilling effect on free speech, and for this, we strongly oppose it. Firstly, allow me to define the key words in the moot so you can understand the basis of our position. Crime, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, and I quote, is an illegal act for which someone can be punished by the government. Contextually, the word access is defined by the Oxford Online Dictionary as the means or opportunity to enter and to obtain and retrieve. End of quote. As defined by the Britannica social media, social media is a form of electronic communication such as website for which social networking and microblogging through which users create online communities to share information, personal messages, and other content such as videos. According to Adobe Express 2022, the top 5 social media platforms are Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Therefore, attentive audience, the moot is suggesting that police investigating illegal acts should be granted the means or opportunity to enter our Facebook account and obtain information, personal messages, and other content. Let that sink in for a moment. If that doesn't unsettle you, then you count your rights as valueless. But we, the members of the opposition, do not. We value our rights with no uncertainties. As the first speaker of the opposition, I will discuss how giving the police access to the social media profile is a violation of privacy and can have a chilling effect on free speech, leading to self-censorship. The second speaker will explain the ineffectiveness of using social media profiles. The third speaker will conclude by highlighting alternatives or more effective solutions to solving crimes, stressing also the importance of balancing privacy and public safety. Esteemed judges, I would like to state clearly that privacy is the right to be left alone and to control personal information. It is a fundamental human right and enshrined in international law, including Article 12 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Article 17 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Members of the proposition, allowing police access to social media profile is a violation of our rights. It's a violation of rights to our privacy. So, social media profile contains a wealth of personal information, including our location, interest, and social connection. By law, they are already established precedents to obtain personal or private information. The Constitution in Chapter 1001 under the criminal law clearly outlines that with the supplication of proof and reasonable grounds by police, a warrant can be obtained to search private properties or that which is deemed private. Worthy proposition, by granting the police access to this information without warrant or probable cause, we are opening ourselves to unwarranted surveillance and profiling. Furthermore, listening audience, this could have a chilling effect on free speech, leading to self-censorship. According to Liberties, a European Union-founded website, and I quote, self-censorship is when someone, most often a journalist or media outlet, censors their own speech and expression and is often done out of fear or pressure. End of quote. The good book reminds us that if we knew the time the thief would come, we would wait to catch him. In that same way, if an individual is aware that the police have access to their accounts, whether by law or covertly, then they will exercise great caution in what they post and the persons they engage with online. People may self-censor their online activities to avoid being targeted by law enforcement, even if they've done nothing wrong. This could have a detrimental effect on the free exchange of ideas and the ability to express ourselves freely online. I say, let democracy reign by disallowing police from accessing our social media profile. In conclusion, I must prioritize the protection of our privacy and civil liberties. The police investigating crimes already have to their disposal procedures they can follow without compromising individuals' privacy and civil liberties. This we are in support of, but to allow interfered access would be tipping the balance too far in favor of law enforcement. Thank you.
All right, I would now like to call on the second speaker of the proposing team to present her presentation.
As the second speaker, I rise boldly to continue my team's argument that police carrying out a systematic inquiry into an illegal act should be allowed a way into our electronic communication data. We live in a society that is fast developing when it comes to technology. Hence, it is important that we allow our law enforcement officers access to our social media profile when a crime is committed. This act can help the police in the collection of evidence and identifying criminals. We can use the various social platforms once there is proof that needed information is there. We all can recall the Kitty businessman Devanand Singh, who kicked his daughter and threatened to kill her on the 25th of March 2022. This ordeal was captured on the source camera. This young lady sought help but did not get any, so she then accessed the store's camera and later took that said video to Mr. Leroy Smith, who we all know as Mr. Big Smith. He later posted the video on the 8th of April 2022 on his social media profile. My friends, it is after this video was posted that action was taken by the police. Mr. Singh was later arrested and charged. And just last Thursday, on the 23rd of March 2023, according to Sabrok News and several online news outlets, he was sentenced to 18 months imprisonment, which can be found in Sabrok newspaper, page 14, March 24, 2023. Lauren judges. We clearly see here that after gaining access to Mr. Smith's profile, only then this young lady could have gotten the help she needed and the abuser were brought to justice. According to the records at the Criminal Investigation Department at Lenore Police Station, the headquarters of Police Region Number 3, Mr. De Silva, who is the officer in charge of crime in that region, stated, and I quote, "We have gained 75% conviction rate in our crime due to us having access to persons' communication data." End of quote. Members of the audience, I am sure that you know of someone or have heard of someone who the police have brought to justice or helped in the prevention of a crime, all because they were given social media access. The police is here to serve and protect. How can they do that when our friends of the opposition wants to prevent them from doing their job? We now learn of crimes taking place in our country via social media. So why not use that same method to solve these crimes? If we are not guilty of an illegal act, we should not have a problem of allowing the investigators the use of our profile. Yes, our account have personal messages and information, and we may think that the same should not be accessed by the police or some random stranger. But what if they're suing someone for defamation of character? And to access the evidence needed, the police needs to get into your data. Won't you be willing to allow them to access and get you the justice you rightfully deserve? Judges, in case of an identity theft, hacking and child pornography, in order for the police to help, they need access to your social media data. Because according to Mr. Coolin, who is the head of cybercrime in Guyana Police Force, said, and I quote, 9 out of 10 times you were hacked and or our identity was stolen because of social media. End of quote. My friends, let us not be misled and suffer because of the lack of cooperation with our police officers. Hence, I say police carrying out a systematic inquiry should be allowed access to our social media platform.
Thank you. I will now call the second speaker of the opposing team to present.
Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good evening to all. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this important topic. As the second speaker opposing the moot, and I quote, police investigating crimes should be allowed access to our social media profiles, end of quote, I will argue that such access would be ineffective and could potentially harm innocent individuals. Firstly, let's consider the evidence regarding the effectiveness of allowing police access to our social media profiles. A recent study by Elizabeth Nash on social media evidence in criminal proceedings and Uncertain Frontier 2014 found that social media evidence is rarely used in criminal cases, and when it is used, it is often used to corroborate other evidence rather than as the primary evidence itself. Additionally, a report by the ZARA Center for Justice, Social Media Monitoring, What You Need to Know 2018, reveals that while social media can be useful in investigations, it is unlikely to lead to convictions on its own, and it should be used with caution. Why? Because granting police access to our social media profiles could potentially harm innocent individuals. For example, a person who has engaged in protected speech online could be misinterpreted as evidence of criminal activity. Additionally, there's a risk of false accusations based on misinterpretations of social media activity, which could lead to harm innocent individuals and erode trust in law enforcement. This is according to the American Civil Liberties Union, Social Media Monitoring. In an article by online news outlets Associated Press titled, Reports Call Out Abuse of Social Media by Minneapolis Police, it was revealed that investigators determined that police fell well short of investigative standard procedures by using covert or fake accounts to seek and gain access to online profiles of Black individuals, including an unnamed city council member and a state elected official, as well as the Minneapolis National Association for the Advancement of Colored People and Urban League. The police activity included friend requests, comments on posts, private messages, and participations in discussions. It further stated, and I quote, when doing so, officers posed as like-minded individuals and claimed, for example, that they met the targeted persons at a prior demonstration or protest protest. End of quote, the report said. If you ask us, it seems like the Minneapolis police in America are going about getting information through clandestine and deceptive means. It is dubious and diabolical. Would we honestly want this type of practice in our locale? Members of the proposition, how would you like to find out that the person you befriended was actually police seeking information from you, but you just didn't know it? In conclusion, there's little evidence to suggest that allowing police access to social media profiles would be effective in solving crimes. It could potentially harm innocent individuals. Instead, we should focus on more effective investigative techniques and ensure that individual rights to privacy and free speech are protected. Thank you.
I now invite the third speaker of the proposing team to present their argument.
Most esteemed judges, members of the audience, and my friends from the opposition, I stand to formally reiterate what my learned colleagues would have said, that police carrying out a systematic inquiry into an illegal act should, and I repeat for emphasis, should be allowed access to our electronic communication data. According to a survey conducted by our team at several secondary schools in region number 3, information gathered revealed that 47% of students are being bullied online. Are you aware there are now laws in place to deal with these crimes? Yes, you heard me say crime. And according to the Oxford Dictionary, anti-SARAS, cyberbullying is a crime. And it is used via technology by one or more persons to intentionally and repeatedly harm another. End of quote. But how can one get justice and stop the harassment when the police cannot have access to our social media profile? To put together the messages you have received, the unlawfully posted photos, and the posts, how would they be able to build a case based on evidence if you do not allow them to be a part of your social media profile? As a parent, let me ask you one question. Is it so important to protect one's child privacy on social media when their mental health is at stake? Not forgetting that cyberbullying has its toll on everyone, regardless of age, race, or religion. It affects one's mental health. Learned judges, each one within the hearing of my voice, let me remind you of when social media was ablaze here in Guyana. Yes, an incident that took place at the Alpha Hotel, involving Teresa with our big on the wheel. Yes, my friends, I want you to remember that when a song that was sung by vice versa was resung within one day by a Guyanese. That man you have is not your own. You remember that? Yes. When Janelle Williams and her sister Melissa Pestano used a cell phone to publicly harass Teresa Pollard, it was obscene, it was vulgar, and it caused emotional distress to Teresa. Learned judges, I stand boldly in saying that police investigating crimes should, and I repeat, should be allowed access to our social media profile. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs. I believe that song is going to be in my head for the entire night. I would like to now call the third speaker for the opposing team to present her argument.
Honorable judges, capable proposition, a pleasant evening to you all. I rise as the third speaker opposing the moot that, and I quote, police investigating crimes should be allowed access to our social media profile, end of quote. I will argue that alternative solutions should be implemented that allows police to investigate crimes without compromising individuals' privacy and civil liberties. Firstly, we need to consider the importance of balancing privacy and public safety. According to the American Civil Liberties Union, Know Your Rights, Privacy and Free Speech 2022, while it is important for law enforcement to have access to the necessary tools to investigate crime, it is equally important to ensure that individuals' privacy rights are protected. Members of the proposition, allowing police to access social media profiles would tilt the balance too far in favor of law enforcement and would not adequately protect individuals' privacy. Therefore, we must consider alternative solutions that would allow police to investigate crimes while also respecting individuals' privacy rights. This is according to the National Conference of State Legislators, 2018. For example, using targeted surveillance can be more effective in gathering evidence while also respecting privacy rights. Additionally, Solve D 2011, Nothing to Hide, the false trade-off between privacy and security. Yale University Press noted that improving investigative techniques, I repeat, improving investigative techniques can reduce the need for invasive methods such as accessing social media profiles in the first place. Listening audience, it is important to note that implementing alternative solutions is not only a matter of protecting individuals' privacy rights, but it is also more effective in solving crimes. In fact, a recent report by the National Institute of Justice 2014 found that focusing on targeted investigation and improving investigative techniques is more effective in solving crime than mass surveillance or broad data collection. In conclusion, there are alternative solutions that can be implemented to allow police to investigate crimes without compromising individuals' privacy and civil liberties. It is important to focus on targeted investigation, improving investigative techniques, and obtaining warrants to ensure public safety is maintained while also respecting individuals' privacy rights. Thank you.
We will now give the opposition and proposing team 10 minutes to prepare their rebuttals. I will now call on the opposition first speaker to present our rebuttal argument.
Honorable judges, smart proposition, fellow team members, and listening ears, I greet you once again. My ears are sore from mendacious stories. My heart is tired of being embodied by lies. Madam First Speaker, I realize that your speech was filled with what-ifs. Where were your facts? Do the police need to invade your speech to find them? Madam Second Speaker, I clearly remember you spoke about the altercation with the young woman and her father. What I didn't hear though was the part that the police had to ask or invade her privacy. So I would deem that piece of information invalid or irrelevant. Madam Third Speaker, I realized you recalled you were speaking about mental health and harassment. Why the hypocrisy? I must ask, why the hypocrisy? Attentive audience and listening judges, myself and team members, we stand firm on the moot. We stand firm opposing the moot that states that police investigating crimes should be allowed access to our Facebook profile. We totally disagree with that. What if it were you? What if it were your privacy that was invaded? What if myself and team members, we embodied information and presented facts? What if it were you? Just what if? Would you like to be the individual who was invaded? Would you like to be the individual whose phone or Facebook that they invaded your privacy? Would you like to be in that position? Don't bother answering. Because no, everyone feels the squeeze when they are in the position. No one feels the squeeze. Everyone can talk when they are not the one faced on the treadmill to run the mile. Everyone can talk when they are not the one faced against the scorching sun. Everyone can speak. Present me with facts. Facts that you believe. Facts that you believe. And myself and team members and the listening ears will drink it. But do not pour water into my ears and tell me they're your tears. Do not. Thank you.
Settle down. I will now like to call on the first speaker of the proposing team to present our rebuttal.
Good evening once again. Our position has not changed. Police should be given access into our social media when investigating crimes. The first speaker stated that people having access is an invasion of privacy. As was stated earlier, it is not an invasion of one's privacy when a crime is committed. She also mentioned, and I quote, "They should be left alone," end of quote. Think about it. A crime committed and the police should leave them alone? Come on, be real. The MOT speaks to having access. The MOT speaks to police having access to our social media profiles when a crime is committed. Why do you speak of invasion and free speech? It clearly shows that you do not understand the MOT, and you keep talking about privacy when it clearly states a crime is committed and we are giving police access to our social media profiles. The second speaker, you spoke about a research that was done, and you presented same to us today. The MOT speaks of police having access to our data to help solve crime. You spoke of ineffectiveness, but still have not shown how giving police access to our data is ineffective. And mind you, police having access to our data is a request. Hence, the word in the MOT which says should. Should is a request. We are not forcing, but we are making a request. You spoke about police and what they are doing overseas. Why not speak to Guyana? You're living in Guyana. If you have did research in Guyana, you should have noticed the benefits and how relevant it is to give police access to our social media data when a crime is committed. The third speaker, you spoke of alternative measures. Again, I am forced to ask, do you really understand the MOT? And you still have not given us any other alternative measures that you speak of. You also spoke of privacy as the first speaker, my friends of the opposition. The MOT says, and I quote, "Police investigating crimes should be allowed access to our social media profiles," end of quote. With all the big words, you still did not understand the MOT, and you did not understand your role tonight. And with the little that you have presented were your opinions on privacy. Learned judges, and all within the proximity of my voice, I boldly say, police should, and I repeat, should be given access to our social media profiles when a crime is committed. There's a just cause, so police should be given access to our social media profiles.
All right. I would now like to invite you all to stand as we welcome ASP Hanover, coordinator of ZARA Computer Center, to give his closing remarks before we call our Chief Judge to announce tonight's winner.
Thank you. May I have a seat, please? Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Mr. Sarwan Bulu, member of the ZARA Group of Companies, number 1 and 2 subdivisional subordinate officers, Sergeant Hines and Sergeant Ramsey, the opposing and proposing teams, most distinguished judges, members of the audience, special invitees, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, all, good evening again. Good evening.
Good evening.
These debate competitions are getting more and more intense. Tonight we have seen a different level of competition, still friendly, a level that we really embrace. Our teams were competitive, but still respectful to each other. Our debates were geared to foster community and police relationship, to further build that relationship. I am very pleased that on our teams tonight we have a mixture of police and members of the community. So we have already achieved our goals as it relates to the collaboration, partnership building, team building with our community and police. We have already set a platform that members of the community can interact with police on different levels, moreover, to have them study together. So I'm hoping at the end of the competition, the friendships that were built, that were made, continue, and police and the community can work together going forward. I know the judges have a difficult task tonight. I realize also tonight that the deliberation took much longer than usual. So I know that there is an intense setup for them to get a winner. I must assure the judges tonight, I failed to do so for the last debate. I must assure you tonight that you have 100% security. So go right ahead and announce your winner. To the two teams, the proposing and opposing teams, congratulations to both of you. You've done exceedingly well. So give them a round of applause. Like all things, we must have a winner and we must have the other side. I know it will be very, very, very nice to be on the winning side, but on the other side, experience is built, right? So, to the winners, whoever you are, big congrats to you. And to the other team, yeah. But I'm quite satisfied with the match that we had tonight. I am very, very, very much satisfied with the amount of work that was put in by both teams. And in my book, you are both winners. So I do not want to delay the judges any longer. I do not want to deprive the audience any longer, and I do not want to keep the nervousness in the seats of the opposing and proposing team. So I will take my leave and invite the chief judge to deliver the winning result. Give her a round of applause.
Good night, everyone. Good night, everyone. Good night, everyone. This is always the hardest part of my job, even though it's the third time I'm doing this. Anyways, let's get into it. So, I want to begin with a quote. Frank Sonnenberg says, "Free speech and debate are essential in our search for the truth." Free speech and debate are essential in our search for the truth. So both teams, we want to commend you on your efforts tonight, and we are pleased because we know it takes a lot of bravery, it takes a lot of courage to get on this podium here and speak to audience. You're trying to read the facial reaction. You don't know what's going on. You're trying to build that confidence. So can we once again put our hands together for them? All right, so I'm going to just share with you all a few of the observations we made as judges. In some instances, we noticed that there were lengthy greetings. It's always good, especially as we go along, the speakers, to establish protocol and get to your point. We like that there were references that were being quoted throughout the various speeches. We also noticed that there were too much reading of the presentation. And when you read your presentation, it takes away from your audience connecting to what you are saying. And then because many persons did not try to commit to memory the speech that they were reading, they had little blips in between. They gotta look down, stutter, stop, go back, and it takes away from the quality of your presentation. Use of emotion in your presentations work to your advantage in some instances. We have use of logic that work well. And we also noted that speakers should be arranged based on ability to deliver and strength of their presentation. That's very, very important. Now, the use of time, this was a sore area. Now, whenever you write your speech, you are supposed to, we expect you to practice, to rehearse. That's where you time yourself. You know, okay, if you have a whole minute remaining, what am I going to do? Am I going to add more information? Am I going to work on the delivery to make the time do? So we want to encourage whichever team goes forward to the next round, please rehearse, 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 and be on point when it comes to your time management. Because when you're way below the time, it speaks to your development of what you're saying. Now let me talk about the rebuttal and then get on with the marks, which is what you're most interested in. Now with the rebuttal, let's start with the opposition since they did theirs first. She did the speech first. We noticed that your speech, it felt for the most part like a big rant. Instead of you properly addressing the points made by the proposition. So there was very few counter-arguments made. All right? Now I want to say something. The crowd appeal is good, but sometimes the audience, they like sensation. Judges, we listening for more than sensation. We listen for the content of what you're saying. So don't get carried away by the clapping and the woo. All right? Proposition, we think that you had a better rebuttal. It was well thought out, and you addressed the various points or what you deem flaws from the various speeches presented. All right? So let's get into it. Ooh, I'm nervous. I'm nervous, but I know I'm secure. Good, because Linden is a far away from Georgetown. Let's go. So I'll call the scores, and then we can see who's the winner, right? Proposition. Drum roll. 183. Now, yeah, come on. Cheer for them. Opposition. Drum roll. 169. Therefore, we deem the proposition as the winner for tonight's debate. So, like we always say, or like I always tell my students, and I'm going to say it here to both teams, this is a learning process. So to the proposition, you have a lot of work to do in the next round. And to the opposition, whenever you are presented with any other opportunity to present, debate, we hope that you do consider the points that we've made tonight. All right? Now we must have a best speaker. And tonight's best speaker is, we can get a drum roll for this too, Miss Simonette Brazil. Come on, let's put our hands together for her, Miss Brazil. All right. This was a task finding our best speaker, but we think that you deserve this, Miss Brazil, right? So congrats, and thank you all.